learning from each other. That was Mike's goal for the Wallen-Palpack Area School District when he launched the Distance Teaching Project with a teacher from Kenya. His innovative approach to teaching and learning is one of the many that PSEA has profiled in learning lessons. Great ideas, great schools. It's a regular feature in Voice, and it's online at psea.org/learning lessons. This year, in our continuing outreach program, we're partnering with PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network, to produce a half-hour learning lesson TV series featuring stories like Mike's. And we've already heard from a couple of people at this house with some great ideas for those learning lessons. We want to tell, and it's important that we do tell, the great stories of what we do every day in our schools, the creativity and the commitment that you bring to your students. And this is one way we're doing it. Before we hear directly from Mike, we have a short video introduction. Welcome to Learning Lessons. Great ideas, great schools.
Newfoundland, Pennsylvania, a rural town in the Northeast, home to one grocery store and one gas station, and home to one Michael Soskil, an elementary science teacher in the Wallen-Palpack Area School District. Mike knew there was a big world out there to learn about. He knew his students could make a difference. So he brought the world to his students through the Distance Teaching Project. Using Skype, fourth graders in Mike's science class taught kids in Kenya lessons on math and how to forecast the weather. Their peers in Africa taught them songs in Swahili and how to improve their garden. Mike's work earned him a spot as a top 10 international finalist for the Markey Foundation's $1 Million Global Teacher Prize, the Nobel Prize of Teaching. Please welcome to the stage, Michael Soskil, elementary science teacher, a delegate to the PSEA House, and an inspiration to his students and his class.
Thank you, everyone. That's a wonderful introduction. For the past few months, since being named Global Teacher Prize finalist, they've been rather incredible. Since my wife and I got back from Dubai, a lot of people have asked what the best part of the experience was. And for her, it's pretty easy. It was seeing her favorite guy up on stage, walking the red carpet, being treated as a celebrity. Afterwards, she had to get a picture with him, and of course, I'm talking about Matthew McConaughey. But for me, the best part was absolutely spending time with the other finalists and getting to know them, being inspired by them. Each one of them radiated a passion for teaching and for the profession that was contagious. Each one of them taught me so much. It was refreshing and invigorating. Unfortunately, for too many of our colleagues right now, inspiration like that is hard to come by. Right now in Pennsylvania schools, we have a crisis stemming from the lack of inspiration for teachers and for students. Take a second. Think about why you chose to become an educator or a teacher. When I ask teachers why they chose this profession, every one of them tells me that they wanted to inspire students. They wanted to give children the skills they need to be successful in the world. They wanted to shape future generations or make a difference in their community. But too many educators right now feel like the demands that are placed on them are preventing them from fulfilling that mission. The selfless and intrinsic reasons why they chose to teach are being stolen from them. It's hard to inspire students when you're being forced to teach a scripted textbook program. It's hard to give children the skills that they need when those skills cannot be measured on the almighty test that determines everything that happens in your school. It's hard to shape future generations when you feel powerless to do what you think is best for the very students sitting in front of you in your classroom. It's hard to make a difference in your community when the dysfunctional political climate in your state makes it impossible for your school to get the very resources it needs to be successful. I'm worried about the future of our profession and the public education system. In 1971, 21% of all U.S. college freshmen were education majors. According to Forbes magazine, by 2010, that number had dropped to 6%. It's now less than 5%. Due to the culture of standardized testing and lack of autonomy in our profession, people are choosing not to teach. Some say that we now have a teacher shortage, but what we really have is the fallout from a 15-year war on teachers. But the tide is turning. All over the country, parents and community members are joining us to stand up and say enough is enough, we're taking our schools back. Teaching is the greatest job in the world. We do get to inspire students. We do get to give children the skills they need to be successful. We absolutely shape future generations and make the world a better place. The most powerful moment of my teaching career happened almost exactly 1 year ago today. After months of my students collaborating, as you saw, on a math project with children in the Kibera slum of Nairobi, we learned of a problem that was more serious than lack of school supplies for them. We learned that there were serious water sanitation problems. The Kibera slum is an area of about 10 square miles. About 1.5 million people live in that area. And during the rainy season, their pit toilets overflow and the water system gets contaminated. I wrote a grant to travel to Kenya, to document the learning gains from the math project we did, and to hand deliver filters that my students, along with children in Greece and Kansas, had raised money for. When I arrived in Kibera, I learned that they were in the midst of a cholera outbreak. During the 2 weeks that I spent in Kenya, 12 children died from drinking dirty water. On the day that I delivered the water filters, I set up a Skype call between 7 schools. The 5 schools that had raised money for the water filters and the 2 schools that received them. The children got to meet each other, to learn each other's stories. And as you can imagine, a lot of tears were flowing. For the children in Kenya, tears of joy were running down their face. They were hugging the water filters that they got. Because for them, those filters may very well have saved their lives and the lives of their family members and their siblings. But my students through the screen, when I saw them, had tears in their eyes for a very different reason. They were experiencing the joy that comes from doing good for others. They were feeling the power of empathy. They were seeing just how powerful you can be when you use your learning to affect positive change in the world. I knew instantly from the expression on their faces that for the rest of their lives, they would continue to use their learning to make the world a better place. They are our next generation of global citizens. And their motivation for learning had absolutely nothing to do with passing a test. This is what education should be about. This is what school should be about. This is why we chose to become teachers. This is what is possible when teachers are given the autonomy to be creative and do what they think is best for their students. Despite the obstacles placed in their way, despite the fact that they're swimming upstream, every day in schools all around Pennsylvania, educators are creating small miracles and are saving lives. To those of us within education, this has become obvious and routine because we see it every day. But to others outside of our schools, it's astounding. Yet all too often, these stories of teaching brilliance never get shared. But others do want to hear these stories. At the PSEA Political Institute in January, we heard from a panel of journalists, and they told us that we are our greatest enemy because we allow the headlines in the media to be dominated by stories that are negative about education. Those journalists want to write about the great things that are happening in our classrooms. If we want to change the narrative about public education in our country and in our state, then we must be the ones to make it happen. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your own story, then you must find ways to share the exceptional things being done by your colleagues. Stories that inspire will always be more powerful than stories that destroy. Members of our communities want to have pride in their local schools. Parents want to know that their children are having exceptional experiences in school. Teachers want to know that they're part of something amazing. And perhaps most importantly, stories of teachers fulfilling their mission inspire our talented young people who want to change the world to pursue a job as teachers. The tide is turning, and now is the time for us to renew our efforts, to fight for what's best for our students, for our profession, for our state, for our country, and for our global society. It is only when teachers are treated as the professionals that they are that we will see the success that we desire in our schools. The inspiration that we feel here this weekend must not fade when we leave. We must make it our mission to inspire those around us. Those who are inspired and remember why they chose to teach will create better experiences for children. They'll multiply that inspiration to others around them. They'll join us in fighting for the resources, the teacher autonomy, and the respect in our profession that we need to create an educational system that allows for great experiences for every single child in every single school. Thank you for the work that you do in representing our teaching profession and in how you fight for students. Every one of you makes me proud to be a delegate to this House and a member of PSEA. Now let's go change the world together. Thank you.